Hey guys, Roxy Sims here, and I have another speed build for you today. Today I am building a Wild West mountain town. It started off as just a train station, but I started building it and I was like, I'll just make the whole thing, just the whole town. You know, it's a big lot, so I might as well. And I'm finally filming a build that has a significant amount of terrain tool action because really I have done very little. You know, it seems like most of the builds that I've done so far just don't need a lot of terrain tools. They are just really work well on flat lots, you know. A lot of community lots. Community lots are normally flat, so haven't had a lot of opportunity to actually do a video with a lot of the terrain tools in it. And yay, here's my opportunity. So I really just wanted I wanted it to be kind of a tiered thing, you know. So this I'm working on is the highest tier, and it's gonna have a couple buildings on it, and then the middle tier is gonna have a couple buildings on it, and then the lowest one is gonna have the train station, and then I'm gonna have train tracks going all the way around it. And as you can see, I made little tunnels out of roof. They're supposed to look like tunnels anyways. I think they don't look too bad. They're my pretend tunnels, and they actually really remind me of did you ever watch the Roadrunner cartoon? It totally reminds me of that. Because you know, the Roadrunner would go through a tunnel, he'd be like meep meep and go through the tunnel, and then the coyote would be chasing after him. He'd get to the tunnel and it'd actually be a wall, you know, just painted black. That is exactly these tunnels. These are the exact tunnels that the Roadrunner could use to trick the coyote. So a lot of the time when people will build a Wild West town, they do very desert, you know, super desert area, cactus everywhere. And I really wanted to do more of a mountain town. You know, I wanted there to be lots of trees, and it also did help that we have Granite Falls, because the world of Granite Falls is kind of perfect for this. You know, I didn't want to build on just any lot, because if you look out in the distance, I didn't want to see like skyscraper buildings, you know, in the background. I wanted it to be completely nature, and so, you know, Granite Falls was perfect for that. And this lot is perfect for it. This is the lot where the hermit lives, I believe, and it's got this beautiful waterfall in the background, and it just looks awesome. And it's got a fishing hole, so yeah, it's really cool. I like this lot for this build, and it's one of the bigger lots in that world, so it was really the perfect lot for this. But yeah, I was thinking this could be, I don't know, in like Colorado or Montana, or, you know, I think most of those western states have a lot of mountains anyway. So any one of those mountainous western states, that's where this is. I was actually very heavily influenced by Red Dead Redemption. So my husband, he just bought that game, the second one, I'm gonna say a month ago, probably. And he's been playing it. So how it goes down in our house is if he wants to play a video game, then I get on the laptop and play my Sims or play another video game. And that way we can be together still. Aww. But we can still be playing our own separate games. And so I've been playing The Sims, and I end up watching Red Dead Redemption 2. I get distracted by it. It's been pulling me in, you know. The storyline has been pulling me in. There's some really funny stuff that goes on in that game, and you know, I've been very distracted by it. And I think the game is actually like sending me subliminal messages. It's like, build a Wild West town. And so I think it was kind of out of my control at this point. I had to build a Wild West town because I've just been consumed by Wild West everything. So yes, very influenced by Red Dead Redemption 2. But I don't really build, this isn't anything specific from the game. You know, I don't have any particular town in mind, although I will say, of what I've seen of it anyways, this town kind of reminds me of Strawberry, the town of Strawberry. You know, like I said, it's definitely not a replica. I'm not trying to exactly copy any of the towns in the game. Just, you know, maybe that kind of a feeling, because it is kind of mountainous. The roads are just kind of dirt and muddy, and I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of Strawberry a little bit. Seeing my husband playing that game is actually like, I kind of want to play it. And because I do think that, you know, I already know like the storyline. I've seen pretty much everything that he's played. I've been around to see it. So I know that storyline. But I hear that you can do kind of any storyline that you want. And you can choose if you want to be a bad guy or a good guy. And the thing with me, though, and my husband, is we will always choose being the good guy. Even so, in The Sims, in any video game that I play, I'm always a good guy. I can't even stand to be mean in a video game to fake people. I just can't. It just hurts too much. I can't do it. It makes me feel so bad. You know, like I couldn't hurt anybody. Even in a video game, I can't do that. I don't kill my Sims. You know, a lot of people do that for fun. I can't do it. It makes me too sad, I think. And so, yeah, the thing is I think since I would be a good guy too, and my husband is played as a good guy in the game, that it'd end up just being the same storyline as what he did. But, you know, I don't know. Who knows? It could be different. I don't know the extent of all that. How many different routes that you can take in the game. It might have appeared that I was very influenced by Strangerville coming out, because if you have Strangerville, there's a lot of Western themes going on in that pack. But actually, I was 100% not influenced by Strangerville, because I actually did this build before Strangerville even came out. So I have had this built and the build recorded since Strangerville, like since before Strangerville came out. I've just been sitting on it, waiting to do the voiceover, and my plan actually was that I was going to do the voiceover on the day that Strangerville came out, but then Strangerville came out, and I'm like, well, I'm not doing this voiceover, I'm too excited, I have to play Strangerville. So I've just been sitting here waiting to be able to do the voiceover for this for a while, but I had to get out all of my Strangerville builds. Not all of them, but, you know, I had to get out the ones that I was super excited about, and then I came back to this one finally. But yeah, Strangerville coming out was such a surprise, wasn't it? They announced it, and 1 week later it was out. So it completely just threw me off, and I had things planned already, but that all just went out the window. So it definitely rocked the boat, but I am very happy with it still. It is a very unique pack, so I'm loving it. Although I was super mad because I'm like, seriously, I just built this Wild West town, and now we have Strangerville that has Wild West stuff in it. I'm like, no way. I already built my building. You know, so I was irritated at first, but looking back on it, there's not a whole lot of things that I think I would have used from the pack anyway, so it turned out to be not so bad. The main thing that I would have used from Strangerville in this was actually the clothing. They had some really cool Wild West style clothing that I would have put on the people that I use for the tour at the end. But other than that, I don't think I would have used anything, so yeah, not so bad. Everything was a-okay. Although it would have been really cool if they would have released the plants that they used in Strangerville. Those plants were awesome. They have really cool cactus and some trees and, you know, little shrubbery and stuff. All of that would have been really nice if they would have released that in the pack as well. But alas, they did not, unfortunately. Having things that they made for the pack not be released as well in it, like all the trucks, all the plants, those kinds of things that don't come with the pack. Oh, that's so sad, isn't it? That is the saddest thing, because you can see it. It is so close to being within your reach, yet you can't have it. And I know people have released them and everything, but then it'll mark your build as having CC. So yes, it is definitely a frustration of mine. I want all of it, give me more things. That's what I want. I will often buy packs that I literally have no intention of ever really playing, just for the stuff. Like vampires, for example. I've made one vampire family, and I barely played with them. I like more realistic stuff, I guess, in my gameplay. So I don't really use those things, which is so weird, by the way, because I really like some vampire movies. Not all vampire movies, but there are some that are just amazing. And why do I like those, but then I don't want to play them on The Sims? I have no reason. It doesn't really make sense, but that's just how it is. I really like the movie Interview with the Vampire. Have you watched that movie? It's with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise and Kirsten Dunst, and wow, that movie is fantastic. So yeah, I like those kinds of movies, but then I never play with vampires on here. But that vampire pack had some awesome build stuff. So even if you don't like vampires, I would definitely suggest that pack. Probably the thing that I use the most often from the vampire pack is the radiator. It comes with a little radiator, and I just love that item. I use it in almost every build that I do, honestly. Anyone that makes sense, I'll put it in there, because it's so cool. I don't know why I like it so much. I have this obsession with the radiator in it. Like, I've never even lived in a house that had a radiator in it. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's like, I've never had it, so it's interesting to me. I have no clue, but I love that thing, and I'll put it in any build that I do, really. Like, if you watched a lot of my builds all in one day, you could probably make a drinking game out of all the times that I use the radiator. So take a shot every time I use the radiator, and if you watched a lot of my builds, you'd be wasted by the end of the day, for sure. Like, don't do that game, because it would be not safe. I use it too many times. That wouldn't be a safe thing to do. I also love all the spider webs and the scratches that you could put on the wall, the peeling wallpaper kind of decal. Yeah, that pack is awesome just for the build items alone. The only bad part is in the middle of the night, you get vampires that just show up at your house, and if you don't lock the door, then they will get in. So you gotta watch out for that, but I think you can just delete the vampires, and then how would they show up at your house, right? So I think if you just delete them, then no big deal. This area that I'm working on right here is kind of like the town square kind of area. Of course, the well, and then there's the little table that people can sell things that if they would like, and then there's the little, I'm gonna call it an area that will deter thieves and criminals. You can probably guess what that is supposed to be. And then I'm working on the saloon. I would have liked to make the buildings bigger, but since I wanted to put so many on there, I had to keep them pretty small. But I think I got everything compact enough and small enough to fit everything that I wanted. I want to tell you about all the different buildings that I end up putting in the town. So the first building that I put in is the train station, of course. Then I got the sheriff/jail. Then I have the saloon that I'm working on now, the church, and then a little cabin. So, just a little bit of everything kind of sprinkled in. I wanted to have at least one house, and then just a few of the more important kind of community buildings that a Wild West town would have. I actually had a lot of fun making the townspeople for this build, because I did want to have some people in the town using the things while I was doing the little tour at the end. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. I made some lawmen and a kind of cowboy guy. I made a lady who, she really reminds me of that blonde lady who's in the first Red Dead Redemption. I forgot her name, but she really reminds me of her. She's like a rancher type of lady. And I have some kind of more fancy dressed up ladies. I have one guy, and he's gonna actually be in the train station during the tour. I had a blast making him because he really reminded me of one of those like typical bad guys who would roll his little mustache in between his fingers and be like, ha 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 ha, and do something really evil. And I thought he was just so funny. He's got a little top hat, but he looks totally like a bad guy. Like one who would tie up a lady to the train tracks, that you see in those silent films. That is totally what I was channeling for him. I also made like one of those little saloon girls, and yeah, but I really liked making them. And if you need some Wild West townspeople, I did put them on the gallery. Yeah, they're just called Wild West townspeople. My gallery ID is Roxxy SIMS, just with no space. If you would like to download them or this build. I really wish that my dad could see this build because he was so obsessed with Wild West anything. He would absolutely torture my brother and I, because he'd have Wild West spaghetti western movies on all the time. And, as a little kid, could there be anything more boring than a spaghetti western? A really, really old one. Oh man, they're all black and white, and I didn't understand anything that was going on because I was just a little kid. I was like, why? Why do we have to watch these all the time? And he would watch those anytime they were on TV. That's what was going on in our house. And my brother and I did not have our own TVs back then. That wasn't until we were older. So it was watch that or watch nothing. So most of the time we just went outside. We're like, we're not going to stick around for this. So let's just go outside. It's a good way to get us to leave them alone, I guess. Put on a spaghetti western and the kids vanish. So you'd get some peace and quiet. Maybe that was the plan all along. Diabolical. But now I can pass on the torture to my son. Because I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but if I do, I really love home renovation shows and cooking shows. And as a little boy, he's like, yeah, I don't like this. So I get to pass along what my dad taught me. So, it's a never-ending cycle. I also really like those true crime shows. And I don't play those around my son. He's too young to see those. But those are the shows that actually torture my husband. He hates those shows. He would never watch a true crime show ever. Never in his whole life would he watch that. Would he choose to watch it. But I love those. I'm kind of addicted to those on Netflix. Because Netflix has some really cool true crime shows. And I don't know why I like them so much, but they are good. So yeah, if I don't watch a lot of TV, but if I am, it's one of those three things. It's a home renovation show, a cooking show, or a true crime show. But most of the time, if I'm doing anything, I'm playing The Sims. Yeah, playing The Sims, making videos for The Sims, going on Twitter to talk about The Sims, Sims. Truly, it's an obsession. It's taken over my entire life. Oh, I need help. back to this build. I'm not completely for sure, but I'm pretty sure that I didn't put any normal lights in all of this. I think I might have put in some lights temporarily just to have enough light to build in. But I think most of the other places I put in lanterns or lights that look like they could be, fueled with gas. Because before actual electricity came, they, used those like gas lanterns. In like even in houses, they'll use those. So that's what I wanted to go for. I was thinking this could be like a late 1800s, early 1900s kind of a build. And I know they did start putting in electricity, but I figured it's like a really small town, so maybe that would come later. Here is an outhouse. Yay! I didn't want to put any like regular indoor plumbing, so outhouse it is. Well, guys, we are pretty much done with this build. Just a little more decoration, and that is it. I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it more than you know. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I hope to talk to you all again very soon. Bye, everybody.